Welcome, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Peter Czapp, and 18 years ago, myself and my business partner, Paul, set up Wow. And we're an accountancy practice that does this. We help people to build beautiful businesses that are led by purpose, by people who care, guided by a clear strategy, and are soulfully grown businesses just like yours, which I guess is why you're here. And today, my job is to help you to build an even more beautiful business. And this is how I'm going to help you do that. So I'm going to help you to spend more time working on your business rather than in it. And this has always been a challenge for us as business owners, but it's a particular challenge right now. Something I've seen over the last couple of years since COVID is business owners rolling their sleeves up, getting stuck into the business as we had to do back in 2020, when our lives and our worlds were turned upside down. And that enabled a lot of businesses to see out the last 2 years and actually do rather well. And that roll your sleeves up approach and get stuck in is tremendous in a crisis. But I see a lot of business owners failing to remove themselves from that. They got stuck in this habit of rolling their sleeves up and getting stuck in and haven't extricated themselves from that, and therefore are not spending enough time working on their businesses. And the reason that that's important is over the last 18 years, we've done a variety of research, and we've seen that time spent on strategy is one of the key determinants of success. We see there's a direct correlation between the amount of time business owners spend on strategy and their performance. And we know this intuitively too, all of us here do, because whenever we survey you and say, how are you currently spending your time? What do you want to do more of and what do you want to do less of? 4 out of 5 say we want to spend more time on strategy. You know this is important intuitively, and yet it is easier said than done. So let's explain how we can solve this challenge. The plan for today, I'm going to share some ideas that I've seen work, and then we're going to learn from each other. And this is the magic of these interactive sessions, is we're all in very similar situations. We're all striving to do more of this. We will all have experiences that we can learn from each other. So cameras on at that point, and we'll split off into breakout groups, come back together and share some final thoughts. So what thoughts from me first? The first step in this journey is that we absolutely must decide that we want to do this. We've got to decide that we want to work more on our businesses rather than in them. And that seems like an obvious thing to say, but I see business owners do a strange thing, which is they're behaving like they're almost going to get to the end of the week and suddenly they're going to get all of their stuff done and they're going to get to Friday lunchtime and go, oh, look, I've got some time to work on my business. It's not going to happen. It simply isn't going to happen. It has to be the thing that you put in first, because otherwise the day-to-day will swamp it. And this is where the planning bit comes in. There's a number of elements that go into doing this, but blocking time out in your diary is absolutely essential. And when you block this time out, think of it in the same way as you would a meeting. So you block time out for client meetings, internal meetings that you almost certainly wouldn't cancel. And yet when we block time out for strategy, sometimes that's the thing that gets pushed, right? Because the day-to-day gets in the way. We need to rethink the way or the importance of that time and find a way that it doesn't get moved. So when you're blocking time out in your diary, the other thing to think about is, when is the best time to do that? And there's a couple of factors that come into that. The first one is, if you look at your working week, there are going to be pinch points, right? There's going to be times when it's going to be more of a challenge to take the time out to really think and strategize and plan than others. Also have a think about when your brain is going to be most likely to work on this. So I read a great book a couple of years ago called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, which, as you can guess, is a lot about sleep. But it's also about our body clocks and how there are, in simple terms, early birds and night owls, and actually understanding when your brain is in the best possible state to think and to plan is a really important bit of the jigsaw. For example, Paul and I are very different. My time is early in the morning, Paul's is definitely later at night, and so understanding that allows you to block time out in the right place. And the other thing that I think is critical to this, and where a lot of business owners fall down, is they do it on their own. Please don't do this on your own. Strategy should not be a sole pursuit. I'm very lucky I have a business partner and I have that accountability. But if you are on your own, I think you need to find a way to get that accountability And it's not just accountability, by the way, it's about, working with other people on this brings ideas, brings energy, makes it more fun. And if you are a sole business owner, if it is just you, then I'd encourage you to think about getting a mentor or non-exec or a coach, someone that can help you on this journey, or even working with another business owner. Certainly in the early days of WOW, we built lots of connections with businesses that were bigger than ours that we really respected. And there was a lot of people who very kindly gave their time for free to mentor us, to coach us informally. We'd get together, for lunches, for dinners. And some of the things that we learned in those conversations were absolute gold. We can pinpoint big decisions that we made at WOW to those moments where we took time out to, sometimes it's not even necessarily a business that's bigger than yours, but just someone who's on the similar journey to you, and sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, and just watching those little light bulb moments that come about when you're exploring things together calmly away from the day-to-day. It's really hard to have those light bulb moments in between answering emails. Well, when I say really hard, it ain't going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. So don't do this on your own. Think about how you can work with your business partners, maybe external advisors, informally with other business owners, and also how you can work with your team, right? Because we have over 40 people at WOW now. And, in the early days, it was just Paul and I deciding the strategy, but we learned pretty quickly that as the team grew, it was really important to involve the team in those strategic decisions. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like at WOW now, we a few weeks ago, we held a strategy day. And we set the agenda, we set the tone, and we said, look, this is where we're heading, a reminder of our vision, reminder of our purpose. And by the way, which we'd carved out previously with the team. We hadn't just, unilaterally decided this. We'd decided what it was that we stood for and created our vision together with the team. But this was a session further down the line now. And we said, look, the key to our success is our client experience. And we ran a session all day where we broke out into breakout groups and ran a series of exercises, creative exercises, to think about how we could create an 11-star experience. And at the end of that, everyone just went back to their teams, the teams that they work in. So the bookkeeping team, the payroll team, the advisory team. And they worked out what they wanted to do in the next quarter as a team, their wildly important goal, to help them achieve our objective of creating an 11-star client experience. So we set the parameters, but it was the teams that decided what they wanted to do. And it will be the teams that will be accountable to themselves and each other in order to deliver it. And what we got from that was, first of all, a much higher chance of good things happening, right? If they've decided what they want to do for themselves. But also we got some incredible ideas, genuinely incredible ideas that we could not have come up with on our own. And there's a real energy and sense of collective purpose around this project now, as we take a big step forward in terms of our strategic objectives, or one of them, which is to build an 11-star client experience. So please you can see the power of this. Don't do this on your own. Don't cocoon yourself away. Get other people involved and use their energy and ideas. Now, sometimes, by the way, we did that remotely. And one of the things that advantages COVID has given us is broadened our recruitment horizons. We're now hiring people all around the UK. And whilst we plan to get together probably 3 or 4 times a year as a team face-to-face, we're able to do all of this remotely now. Now, when it comes to your planning and your thinking time, I think it's really important to go somewhere else to do this. It's really, if you're sat at your desk right now, and this is the place you do stuff, you get stuff done, you make decisions, you fire off emails, reply to Slack messages, you do phone calls. It's really hard to take that energy, that high energy, that doing energy, and then stop and then go and do some thinking and planning. Your brain is anchored to that high energy, that decision-making mode. Go somewhere else to do it. Go to a coffee shop, go to a hotel, go for a walk, go somewhere else to do this thinking, to do your planning, because your brain will thank you for it. So there's various things that you can do. Paul and I, for example, we go for a walk every Friday afternoon. We meet at Friday, our week stop on a Friday at 12 o'clock. We go for a walk and we talk, and there's a lot of alignment created, a lot of ideas shared. There's no laptops, no mobiles. We just talk and think and strategize. And I promise you, some of the big decisions that we've made at WOW over the years have come from strolling around the Hampshire countryside, just just thinking, just pondering. And now whether it's going for a walk or whether, by the way, there's another extreme of this. One of our clients takes a whole week out of their lives to do planning for the year. And they actually hire a Airbnb in North Norfolk, which is lovely part of the world, by the way. And they will shut themselves away for a whole week and put the whole business plan in place, all the forecasts, all the plans for the teams, and then go back in and present. And I appreciate that's an extreme and that's the way that works for them. But I like the fact that they've physically gone somewhere else. They've detached themselves from their current reality. Detaching yourself from current reality allows you to think differently as well, right? It's your current thinking that's got your current challenges. And if you want to get out of those challenges, you're going to need different thinking. And you need to be in a place that allows you to just dream a little bit, to think what's beyond where we are now. And that's very hard to imagine where you sat in a place where the now is happening. So think about location when you're doing this and what might work for you. This is an obvious one, right? Turn off your phones and emails. Notifications on, I don't know why, there's far too many notifications happening in our lives in terms of Slack and emails. And I understand how, that's important when you want to communicate quickly and effectively. But when it comes to planning and thinking, we need no distractions. So just nothing dramatic is going to happen in the 2 hours you take out. Just turn your phones off, turn your emails off, give yourself the proper time and space to do this. And use moments like this. It's great that so many of you are taking an hour out of today, but I wonder how many of you straight after this have a 10 o'clock meeting. And if you're doing that, by the way, don't feel guilty. You're not alone. But often we have these moments where we take time out and then we rush back into the day-to-day, and that misses the opportunity, because on sessions like this, I can see you all scribbling and coming up with ideas, and those ideas will be added to when we split out into the breakout rooms in a second. And then what happens to those ideas? We go straight into a 10 o'clock meeting, and I don't know, we feel like we've missed the opportunity. So if you can carve out just an extra 30 minutes to an hour after sessions like these, or when you do listen to podcasts or on other webinars, to give you the opportunity to take the initial actions. And often it just needs an initial action. It might be sending a message to someone and booking a meeting, say, hey, I've just had some thoughts about our people experience or client experience, or the way we pick up clients, or a pricing strategy, or whatever it is that might have cropped into your head. I've had some thoughts about this. We should chat about this. I've booked a meeting for next Tuesday. Here are my initial thoughts, just to set the ball rolling. Just add that extra time after sessions like this to help you build momentum, because and actually all you need is that first action, that spark, that meeting, that first conversation with your business partner or a key member of your team to go, right, I'm serious about this. This is actually happening. We're actually going to do something about it rather than just thinking about it. And that's the exciting bit of it, the action bit. Now, there are some things that are going to prevent you doing this. This all sounds great in theory, right? But I've been doing this for 18 years. In the same boat as you are. I'm running a business, which is the biggest business I've ever run. And next month it will be bigger still, and so on. So every day is a school day for me too. And what I've seen over the years for myself and with our clients is there's a number of things that can get in the way of this. Let's talk about them now. There are some practical realities here. And for those of you sat there thinking, every time I do this, I get caught up in client issues or people issues or financial issues. There's just something gets in the way. What I encourage you to think about is, what would prevent these things from getting in the way? What do you need to actually do? Because these things that crop up, they seem like surprises, right? But they shouldn't be surprises. When we have client issues, people issues, challenges, or significant changes in situations, it feels like a surprise, but it really shouldn't be, because they happen consistently. This is the world we live in. And so we need to look at those and say, well, are we planning for them effectively? Have we got the right structures in place? And for some people, when they do this exercise and they look at what is bogging them down, what is preventing them from working on the business and instead forcing them to work in the business. By the way, it's a great exercise to do, is to work out how much time you're spending each week and all the different activities. And then to say, well, who can I get to do this stuff? And look around you. Are there people within the business that I can pass this over to? Could I potentially outsource some of this to free up time for me to spend more time working on the business. Because if you don't address those practical realities, you're just going to be in the same challenge. So write down all the things that you're currently doing, and then look at that list and go, well, hang on a minute, what do I want to stop doing? What do I want to like completely that I just don't need to get involved with? What can I delegate? What can I outsource? What could I potentially streamline to free up this time? So there are some practical realities that you need to deal with. But there's also our thinking gets in the way. I heard a great phrase a few years ago, which was, what got you here won't get you there, that really helped me understand how our thinking impacts pretty much everything. You know, we're here in our current situations because our thinking has got us here. And what this phrase means is, what got us here won't get you there, is the thinking that has got you to this point in your business will not be the thinking that's required to take you to the next level. Let's think about this, right? Most of us would have started from nothing, right? And I know what that feels like. We all do. We all remember those days where you set up a business and you have nothing, no clients. And actually, what you do need to do there is hustle. You need to find some ways to get some clients and deliver work, get clients and deliver work. And that is pretty much the early days of a business, isn't it? By the skin of your teeth, you need to find enough clients and be good enough in the work that you do to get to next month and get to next month. And that hustle approach will take you so far, but actually you then need to get good at other things like building teams and structure and systems and processes and profitability. And as you grow, you'll need to develop as a leader. Your thinking will need to develop. And what I'd encourage you to think about when you look at your list is, what are some of the habits that you've got into that you really you can just shed? That, you know, habits, say either through COVID or habits from the past in the early stages of the business, that are going to hold you back. It might be something around delegation. It might be something getting involved unnecessarily in client issues or people issues. But sometimes there is practical realities, and you will need to hire people in order to solve this problem, or you will need to make some decisions. Sometimes it will be our thinking that's holding us back. And actually, we've got all the people, we've got the resources, we're just not using them effectively. So have a think about your current situation, practical changes you need to make, and that might include letting go of some old thinking. Now, the key to this, the absolute key to this is how we set things up, right? I want you to think about the times when you were good at this, or better than you are now, perhaps, and compare those situations to the situation you find yourself in. When actually look at two extremes: when you're good at this, when you are spending time working in your business, versus when you're not. What are the differences between those two situations? What's changed? And if you can work out those differences, there'll be clues as to how you can do more of the situations where you are able to work on your business. Now, often this will come in how you set things up, your working week, your meeting structures, how you delegate, how you communicate, how you plan, things you get involved with. It's already predetermined for the next month or so, our abilities to work on the business versus in it. It's all down to our setup. And just have a look at how you set yourself up in the next month in terms of how you planned your time, how you plan to deal with the unexpected. And there will be clues there. When you look at that, do you actually genuinely think, yes, I've got the time and space and the backup here to help me work on my business? Or are you, when you look at that setup, do you think, well, it's inevitable, I'm gonna struggle with this? And really be honest with yourself and look at that setup, how you're planning your time, and then think about what practical changes you need to make in order that you can look at this and go, I'm confident I have the time to work on my business rather than get stuck in it. And then you need to create a plan to do this regularly. It's not a one-off hit, is it? It's not, we'll do this once and then we're done. It's really important that you allocate time in on a regular basis, and you need to decide what that is. Some people do it weekly, some people do it monthly, some people do it quarterly, and sometimes it's a combination of all of those things. Maybe a larger annual planning exercise with quarterly check-ins involving your team, and then maybe monthly conversations, and then weekly chunks of time to help you advance things as well. But whatever format works for you, just allocate that time in your diaries to do this regularly, applying all of the processes that we spoke before. And then make sure you monitor your progress. Actually, rather than monitor your progress, let's celebrate our progress. Because if you think about the situation your business is in now, no matter what challenges you face, you have made significant advancements over the last couple of years. The fact that you're still here after COVID is commendable. And often we are so caught up in the challenges and where we want to go next, we forget all of the progress that we are making right now, and all the things that we have achieved, that we set out to achieve. So I'd encourage you to celebrate your success personally and with the team. Look at what you set out to achieve previously, and let's celebrate the fact that you have achieved a lot of those things. Maybe not completely, but certainly you're further forward than where you had hoped to have been. And that's something to celebrate. So make sure we do that. It's a key part of reinforcing the benefit of working on our businesses, is understanding the progress that we're making.